From the very beginning of his journey, François-Paul Journe created an entirely new design language, making his creations even more relevant. We said many times that fpjourne is a watchmaker like no other. In fact, his creating process starts from the design, connecting the dial with the architecture of the movement. This, of course, is a much more difficult approach. He simply refuses to change the position of an element on the dial just because it's mechanically challenging to achieve. He always finds a way to make it work. At the end of the 90s, fpjourne sketched his first design on a bistro napkin in Paris, now framed at his manufacturer in Geneva. Because, as I said, for fpjourne, a true project starts with the dial. Staying true to those napkin sketches, fpjourne designed the first movements with hours and minutes on the right, crown side, and the extra functions or complications on the left. If you want to see the additional non-essential information, he just revealed the full dial. The small subdials in silver with guilloche decoration are always enclosed in a steel frame held by screws, while the dials they are mounted on are made of either red gold or white gold, except for a few early examples in yellow gold. All these aesthetic codes come from his first inspirations, clearly expressed in his first wristwatch. The prototype of the Tourbillon Souverain, the 1191. The guilloche dial is inspired by Breguet's work, and also the Breguet hands, while the dial is screwed directly onto the plate, exactly as scientific instruments were made in Ferdinand Berthou's era. Then we find the remontoir d'égalité, holy grail of watchmaking. The aesthetic is unique. There was nothing like it in the watchmaking world at the time. All the early models, the Tourbillon Souverain in 1999, the Resonance Souverain in 2000, the Octa Réserve de Marche in 2001, and so on, all featured off-center dials. It wasn't until 2005 that we saw an fpjourne watch with central hands, the Chronomètre Souverain. An example I often mention is the power reserve indicator of the Chronomètre Souverain. No one else placed it at 3 o'clock, simply because it's technically too difficult, due to the fact that underneath lies the crown's tige. fpjourne designed the dial with the power reserve placed right there because, for him, it's the key piece of information to keep an eye on in a precision chronometer. And he found a way to make it work, staying true to his original design, Invenit et Fecit. The Chronomètre Souverain dial features a Clou de Paris guilloche finishing. fpjourne told us that guilloche is his favorite dial finish, as it reminds him of the watches he loved as a boy. This finish has been used on the silver counters of his watches ever since the very first tourbillon in 1999. The Arabic numerals are applied by hand using a silicone pad dipped in ink, a rare and delicate technique mastered in his dial workshop, Les Quadraniers de Genève. Look closely at the numerals. You might not have noticed, but the numbers vary in size depending on their position on the dial. It's a visual trick that creates aesthetic harmony on an asymmetrical dial and avoids ever having to cut off the numbers near the subdials. But fpjourne goes even further, not only designing dials and movements, but also creating a unique style for numerals and hands, giving them his name. Moreover, the cases are extremely harmonious, with a specially designed winding crown featuring knurling for a better grip. fpjourne wants his watches to be visually perfect, not just mechanically. And that's it for today. See you next time. Ciao!